Good morning and welcome to One Star Breakfast program on MCL TV. This is a Good Morning Abia breakfast show where we keep you busy with our talking and get you information as well as get you entertained as you sit over your breakfast. I am Cynthia Echeme. I'm welcoming you on board this third day of May where God has made it possible for you and I to witness. And we only have to be glad and grateful to God Almighty. And right after now, we are going to be visiting the Marble. Remember, on Words and Marble One Stop Breakfast program, we go there to get ourselves inspired and ready for the day's activities. It could be inspirational, it could be whatever, it could be spiritual. Whatever you see this morning, get ready to make good use of it for today. Right after Words and Marble, I'm going to be reading out the news for you to get abreast of the happenings in the country and also globally and also in the world of sports. All right, after that, we'll take a break and get back and conclude our news bulletin with the newspaper review. Remember, on our newspaper review, we'll simply take the papers and get to know what the papers have in store for us so that when we talk or when we discuss with our peers or our friends, will be based on facts and not on hearsay or rumors. After that, we get back and begin our discussion segment. We are going to be continuing with the discussion on Workers' Day, the welfare of workers globally and also nationally. We also draw the it down home in Abia State because charity begins at home. Do keep a date, continue staying tuned, and let's go straight to the Words on Marble. Words on Marble this morning, it says, one thing you should love about the past is that the past is the past. One thing you should love about the past is that the past is the past. It simply tells you and I, let it go, let the past go, even if it's so unpleasant. Let it go, loosen up. The past is the past. You have to do well. Do good to yourself by embracing the future. There is no hope in the past. There's no life in the past. Of course, sometimes we draw our experiences from the past and utilize it for the future. But do not cling too much onto the past, especially if it is a bitter one. Let it go and it will be good for you. And that is all. Also telling you and I, as true citizens of Abia, if there are ugly incidents or ugly events in the past that seem to terrorize us in the future in Abia State, we should let it go. Did we ever have a very bad leader in the past? Instead of always talking about it and feeling so bad, why don't we embrace the beautiful one God has given us in the present and continue to pray for him? And that is why we also continue. We need to continue to pray for our governor, pray for our chairman in the various local governments, and ask God to give them the inspiration, give them the knowledge to put up more, put up their best. And even as we are praying for them, what have you done for Abia State? What are you planning to do for Abia State? Is it talk it down or pray for it? Have you paid your, you doing your civil responsibilities? Are you paying your tax? Are you helping to lead Abia State and talk down on what the government is doing? No, continue to pray for Abia State. I need to be good for you and I. All right, that is that. Let's take the Good Morning Abia breakfast news. The President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday in the United States spoke on former President Olusegun Obasanjo's 23rd special statement, which asked him now to seek re-election in 2019. The statement, the President said, was abusive. The statement generated heat across the country, with some analysts backing Obasanjo and others condemning him. The President spoke during an interview on the Hausa service of the Voice of America, VOA, in Washington, D.C. He is on a 4-day visit to the United States. The President said despite perceiving the letter as abusive, he refrained from replying in kind. Rather, he said he authorized that the government's reactions should be to tell the country what it has achieved. Titled The Way Out, a clarion call for coalition of Nigerian movement, the letter accused the president of nepotism, having a poor understanding of politics and engaging in blame games rather than accepting responsibility for his future. The Kano Local Government Election Fact-Finding Committee of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has revealed that it is in possession of a video of free-for-all thumb printing of unidentified persons during the Kano local government election. An 8-man committee was set up following the February Kano Council poll after public outcry over videos and photos emerged of an alleged underage voters and massive thumb printing believed to have been shot during the Kano LG polls. On the issue of voters register, the leaked report confirms that the Commission found out that formal request and approval for the release of the register was done accordingly. No fewer than 31 million customers have been captured in the bank verification number BVN, the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN has said. As of December 2017, the implementation of the project recorded 31,426,991 registered BVNs, and are linked with BVN, the CBN Director in charge of Banking and Payment System, Dipo Fatokun, said in Abuja. Fatokun said to address the absence of a unique identifier in the Nigerian banking industry and to facilitate the creation of a lucid financial services environment, the CBN, in collaboration with the Bankers Committee, launched the BVN project on February 14, 2014, with biometric solution as a unique identifier for all bank customers. The objectives include to increase access, convenience, service levels across the country, enable greater financial inclusion and integration of financial services into the economy. Fatoku said the BVN was also targeted at promoting safe and sound financial system in the country. The BVN, he said, has helped in the provision of a unique identifier for customers that impact other areas such as credit check and non-repudiation of transactions. The founder of Africa Independent Television, AIT, Raymond Dopesi, has tracked the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, before a federal high court in Abuja, seeking $5 billion damages for alleged defamation of his character. In his suit, Dopesi's lawyers, Mike Zekome, San claims that Mohammed and Malami, named as first and second defendants respectively, defamed his client on or about March 30, 2018, while addressing the press, wherein they named him as a treasury looter. He said the video clip of the press conference that went viral were carefully skimmed and embarked upon as a way of vendetta to denigrate, disgrace, embarrass, humiliate, and subject the plaintiff to inhuman and degrading to members of the public and the society at large. According to Zokome, the reputation of his client was seriously injured and he has suffered considerable distress, udom, obloquy, ridicule, and anxiety, including political analysis and TV, radio commentaries, and social media broadcasts castigating him, all based on the first and second defendant's publication. Ozokame is therefore seeking an order compelling Mohammed and Malami to publish a full retraction and an apology for the defamation. Abia State government is set to partner with a Chinese firm and geometric power plant for the building of 9 power substations in some local government areas. This was made known at a tripartite meeting involving the Chinese firm Geometric Power Limited and Abia State government at the plant located in Usisioma in Aba. Nora Okafor reports that with this positive development, Abia State may be first in the southeast region to experience uninterrupted power supply. The report.
Power supply is one major challenge that has slowed down the rapid economic and industrial development of the nation. At present, it is estimated that Nigeria, with a population of over 180 million people, produces less than 5,000 megawatts of electricity. Of the 5,000 megawatts, which is grossly inadequate, the Southeast enjoys only 300 megawatts. This is a region that needs more than 1,000 megawatts in view of its enormous contribution to the nation's economy. To ensure constant supply of electricity in the states, particularly Aba, the Abia State government has expressed its readiness to partner with a Chinese firm and geometric power plant for the construction of a power generation plant known as Aba Grid. When completed, the grid will source power locally and no longer from the national grid. President of the Chinese firm, Leming Song, said the project will provide Abians with reliable and uninterrupted power.
阿坝州的新城建设，以及工业园的建设，以及电力的建设，做出我们应有的贡献。
We hope that we can make some significant efforts for the development of the Abia cities and also the happiness of the Abia state.
Abia Acting Governor Ude Okochukwu expressed the willingness of the state to facilitate the project and provide an enabling environment for business to thrive.
Because we recognize the fact that development, both economic or otherwise, can only thrive in an atmosphere of peace. So, we are assuring you of not only that, we will also provide the necessary infrastructure in terms of road and all that is needed to facilitate the operation of this project in this state.
The major benefit of the project is the provision of reliable electricity for rapid economic and industrial development of the state. Nora Okafor, MCL News.
The glamour of every developing city is the very prearranged layout of its structure, roads, and goodly behavior of its dwellers. These lend to the beauty of the town. In Aba, the increasing pressure of beggars, particularly at very popular routes, has begun to take its toll on the dwellers. This action and altitude of beggars are beginning to be a source of embarrassment and worry to Aba residents. MCL TV News Crew sampled the opinion of the public and came out with this report. A first-time visitor to Aba, upon arrival to the main park, will not fail to notice the activities of beggars along the very popular Bata Junction that intersects the Ikotekbene Road leading to Obo Hill and beyond. What catches the eye is the untidy nature of these beggars who use many disguises to appeal to people's minds. They usually use their newborns and very small growing children as begging baits to the unsuspecting passers-by. Their nuisance is growing in intensity as they now barging on people, beg with impunity, and also, as some extreme cases, embarrass the passers-by. While efforts have been made in the past by government to rid them from the streets, their insurgence has always remained a mystery, but an interaction with these beggars revealed that they migrated from neighboring states of Akwa Ibom and Cross River states.
For a long time that I've been working, so at a time like this, I don't have much strength to work anymore. So I traveled to Ibadan that time. As I traveled to Ibadan, I left Ibadan to Aba here. So I was like stranded in this place. So I don't have anywhere to stay. So I was just hanging around at the streets. Before I see this place, I say, let me just join the people. Since I don't have anything to do, and there's nobody who would trust me to put me in any of his company to work with him, so that I'll have something to benefit from. I go to school at a time where there is not much money for me to continue my education. Then I end with JSS3. That is where I dropped out in JSS3.
Since I get here, I did not see anybody will come. When I stay here, you reach the year where I will go. I know we stay here. Brother, even though you speak, me I no go do. I'm not happy to see them like this because majority of them from Akwa Ibom side. But majority of them will not be Akwa Ibom, but as they come turn themselves to a baker, I don't like it.
Many who have been victimized by these beggars have narrated their ordeal as not very funny. They pray that a lasting solution be found to permanently rid them from the streets.
It's very bad. The federal government should put iron on them because it's too much. Or if they will keep them one place and help them, or if they will send them back to their places or help them with money or anything, it's better than hanging me here.
I'm not happy to see them like this because majority of them from Akwa Ibom side, but majority of them will not be Akwa Ibom. But as they come turn themselves to a baker, I don't like it. Make government have mercy on them. Some of them, those who know kids and work, may they have small thing to them so that they do. Some of them some money, some of them little thing which they can produce, can manufacture. Then or some of them they can carry them. As these Asapa people, they can make they follow them, they sweep. They pay them small money so that make they leave this place. It's not good like this.
You know, what can the state do? The state can also do that, but anybody that have the mind to help can help them.
If I will be able to see somebody that will help me, then I will be very grateful with that person, and I will not disappoint the person.
Aba is notable as the economic hub of Abia State and attracts so many visitors who mostly come to transact meaningful businesses, and so would not be nice to experience the embarrassment meted out by these beggars. Concerned relevant agencies will do Aba a world of good in seeking a lasting solution and relocation of these beggars along Aba roads for the good of the Enyimba city. Cynthia Echeme, MCL News. The President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, has called on Nigeria and the whole Africa to support its bid to host the 2026 FIFA World Cup alongside Canada and Mexico. Trump, who spoke at the White House on Monday during President Muhammadu Buhari's visit, promised the U.S. was set to reposition its aid to Africa and that the continent should reciprocate by supporting its World Cup hosting bid. The United States last hosted the World Cup in 1994. The 2026 edition will be the 23rd FIFA World Cup. Two officials' bids to host the event have already been submitted to FIFA, a joint effort by Canada, Mexico, and the United States, and proposal by Morocco. And that's a Good Morning Abia package of the news, and with that we'll take a break, and when we get back we'll be concluding our news bulletin by taking a look at the newspaper. I'm talking about our newspaper review. Do stay tuned.
One-stop breakfast show on TV.
Do you know I spend most of my time
It is so busy quick.
What did they have?
Yeah, now it's gonna go.
Time to rebuild Abia. I urge you to set aside our differences so that together we can join hands and build the Abia of our dreams. Remember that my word is my bond.
One-stop breakfast show on TV.
For inquiries and booking, contact Address Hotel and Suites at number 18 Opobo Road, Obo Hill, Aba. Telephone 081 000 00895 or 081 000 00896. Address, the pride of hospitality and tourism.
Have you heard of Prescal World and Heaven Options Limited? Prescal is a home of direct image right here in Aba. Why go to Lagos or Port Harcourt for your direct image jobs? Come to Prescal World and Heaven's Options located at number 145 Azikiwe Road, Aba for perfect cover page, journals, magazines, brochures, and flyers. We also offer printing services in digital flex and billboard, window graphics, posters, stickers, heat transfers, ID cards, complimentary cards, monogram, and car branding. Heaven Options offer you entertainment services like event management, ambulance services with well-dignified undertakers. We can also boast of 3 months ordinary program in computer training, 6 months certificate in computer training, and 1 year advanced certificate in computer training. Why not visit Prescal and experience that quality jobs? For inquiries, call 080-33-22-6115, 070-40-24-7196, 070-84-69-8165.
Abia, your one-stop breakfast show on TV.
Alright, you're welcome back. In case you are just joining us, this is our one-stop breakfast program from MCL TV, your number one station for your breakfast show. And this is our newspaper review, our segment where we take a look at the papers one after the other, find out what they have for you and I. As usual, we are going to kick off with the Daily Sun. The Daily Sun this morning on the top left, top right rather, recession exits. Nigeria's poverty increased in 2017, says World Bank. Nigeria's poverty increased in 2017, coming from World Bank. Alright, captured our story from World Bank on page 7. And away from there, we meet a Kochi headline, Buhari's 2019 re-election bid. Buhari's 2019 re-election bid, Obasanjo, no. The mediocre performance of Nigeria cannot be described by anybody as superlative. For the records, Obasanjo has not and cannot endorse failure. This is coming from OBJ. And the presidency, no comment. Alright, for you to grab the rest of the gist, please go to page 6. Of course, there we see the two picture elements of the former president Olusegun Obasanjo and the current president Muhammadu Buhari. Alright, like I said earlier, on page 6, go there and finish the rest of the story. And still on page 6, on Shiites ground Abuja for El Zazaki. Shiites ground Abuja for El Zazaki. Alright, Air Peace plans maintenance hub in Enugu. Air Peace plans maintenance hub in Enugu. And the banner says Ugwuanyi begs Air Force to surrender land. Ugwuanyi, the governor of Enugu State, begs Air Force to surrender land. Alright, please go to page 39 and finish the story there. Still on page 6, masked DSS operatives take over now security. But the banner says as IGP shuns Senate again. As IGP, Inspector General of Police, shuns Senate again. Go to page 6, like we said earlier. And the rest, the last on the front page here, will make Bayelsa Houston of Nigeria, says Dixon. Will make Bayelsa Houston of Nigeria, coming from Dixon. Alright, finish that story from Dixon on page 40. And with that, we quickly go to the back page of the Daily Sun. And here we are meeting Louis Obi and Newton Jibono. And let's begin with Louis Obi's column, Herdsmen's Endless Blood Lust. Herdsmen's Endless Blood Lust. And that's the part 2 of the column. Continue the story on page 16 and find out what Louis Obi is talking about. And on Newton Jibono, policing or lack of in Nigeria. Policing or lack of policing in Nigeria. Alright, that story is on 36 of the Daily Sun from Newton Jibono. When we leave that, we step down to meet public forum from Olabode or Okpesheton. Olabode Okpesheton says, Adenuga at 65. Why gold digger remains the real McCoy. Alright, and that's the face of Adenuga here. Unfortunately, there's no peace already carved out from which we can let ourselves into the briefing on the column, but we really need to read the column in full and find out what Olabode is talking about. All right, I'm leaving Olabode's column. Here comes Citizen Joe, the column, the cartoon you and I love so much. I spent 26 years in jail for fighting a mechanic, says ex-convict. What if you had fought a welder? The prison keys won't open again. Okay, that is from Citizen Joe this morning, saying it all in a very comic manner. It's left for you to decode the information there. Alright, with that we go to the next paper, which is The Nation, as we continue to pray for Nigeria. On the top left, you have Enugu 6 Air Force land for aircraft firm. Enugu 6 Air Force land for aircraft firm. And it's like we read out from Delhi, from the Delhi Sun. Alright, where Ugwanye was asking Air Force to release the land. Please go to page 42 and unravel the rest of the story. On the center there, Bayelsa to become Houston of Africa. Melaye rearrested over 90 million naira bill. Ndidi retains Lifestyle's Young Player Award. Ishekiri stakeholders push for development. These stories go to pages 41, 8, 47 and on the same page 41 for a detailed reading. Alright, I'm leaving that for an inside story. Senate seeks full compliance with ban on codeine. Senate seeks full compliance with the ban on codeine. Remember the video that has gone viral of our youths have been destroyed by this combination of cough syrup and codeine. Alright, now the Senate seeks full compliance with the ban on the product codeine. Continue the story on page 9. Alright, then stepping down we meet Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi's second left, with Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar left, and others at the groundbreaking ceremony for the Headquarters Complex Ground Training Command, Nigeria Air Force Base, Enugu, and this took place yesterday. Alright, and leaving that, representatives of the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Mr. Adetokunbo Adebayo, speaking at a national retreat on state and local governance reform in Enugu State yesterday. With him are Director of Economic Growth in the ministry, Mr. Samuel Elo Mido, and World Bank's representative, Mr. Ikechukwu Nweje. Alright, that was the second picture element there. And when we step down with me, I will never endorse Buhari's re-election, says the former president Olusegun Obasanjo. Remember, we also read it from the Daily Sun. And the banner says, ex-leader writes of president's U.S. trip. Ex-leader writes of president's U.S. trip. Presidency statement not worthy of response. That story continued on page 6. And away from there, we meet NNPC sets 2020 deadline for zero gas flaring. NNPC, okay, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC sets 2020 as deadline for zero gas flaring. Alright, continue the story on page 6. Of course, there is Baru there, my county Baru. Okay, and we leave that to meet restructuring a must, say Anyoko Nwodo, others. Restructuring a must, say Anyoko Nwodo, others. Please continue the story on page 6. And with that we meet Wike at war with conscience, says Senator. Wike at war with conscience, says Senator. Please go to page 41. Find out why and which senator is saying this. Alright, and on same page, Nwoboshi laments. Nwoboshi laments. Okay, go to page 41 and find out who Nwoboshi is lamenting for or why he's lamenting. Alright, and that takes us to the back page. On the back page of the Nation, we meet today in the Nation. What is today in the Nation going to tell us? Let's read from Sani Nahuche. Alright, this same generation did not know what it meant or felt like struggling to buy a used car, or tokumbo as it is popularly called, or a used electronic set, or even used clothes, as leaders before them were good to go. But they have blatantly refused to replicate the same thing for this generation. Alright, that is from Sani Nahuche today in the Nation. And leaving that, we meet Benga Omotosho, editorial notebook. This morning, editorial notebook writes on making sense of these times. Making sense of these times. Alright? And the next is a fall of a senior advocate. Fall of a senior advocate. I'm still talking about WBK. Remember, that has been sentenced to jail, 30 days in jail. Alright, I'll urge you to read in full Fall of a Senior Advocate and find out more stories on that. Away from there, we meet Headball. Headball this morning writes on Ghosts Did It. Ghosts did it. What did the ghosts do? Who are the ghosts and what are the ghosts? Please read the column in full and find out whether it is a proverbial statement or full of idioms. Alright, and leaving down to meet Ripples. Relief as community gets electricity after 10 years. News. And the response, congratulations and welcome to the world of crazy bills. Alright, that is true. If you have an electricity problem, if you don't have it, it's a lot of problem. Or even if you have it, you're welcome to the world of crazy bills. You'll be served with crazy bills. Alright, and that we go to the last but not the least paper. I am talking about the New Telegraph. The New Telegraph this morning promises very interesting headlines. Gas flaring, deficit forecast hits 333.6 billion naira. Gas flaring, deficit forecast hits 633.6 billion naira. And the banner says federal government shifts 60-year-old deadline. IOCs get fresh 2 years. Alright, and that's to be continued on page 6. And the next there, stock market posts 947 billion naira loss in 3 months. Alright. Leaving that away from there, we go down to meet 4 picture elements, beginning from 4 picture elements in one line. And that begins with a man jumps from 5th floor of UCH Ibadan, dies. Man jumps from 5th floor of UCH Ibadan and dies. You can see the photo of the deceased body being carried away. Alright, may his soul rest in peace. It's good to find out why he actually committed this suicide. El Zazaki's followers, their police shout Abuja streets. You can see the photo of El Zazaki there. Remember who El Zazaki is? Alright, El Zazaki's followers, their police shout Abuja streets. Still on the Shiite story. And the next is police arraign Melaye on stretcher. Police arraign Melaye on stretcher. You can see the photo of Melaye lying down in that stretcher there, and the police or somebody that looks like them attending to him. Alright, go to page 10 and find out more on that story. Taking us to Ronaldo's down on the sports story. UEFA Champions League, it's Liverpool versus Real Madrid. Alright, it's Liverpool versus Real Madrid. For the lovers of sports and the die-hard fans of these clubs, go to page 39 and unravel the rest of the story. And that takes us to a catchy headline. This catchy headline says, US visit. You bungled your redemption, OBJ tells Buhari. You bungled your redemption. Remember OBJ? Obasanjo? Olusegun Obasanjo tells our President Muhammadu Buhari. And the banner says, I will never support failure. The ex-president Labour deny meeting. The next says, A president demands fair coverage from media. Continue the story on pages 2 and 7. And with that, we step down to meet this very beautiful picture element. As from left to right, French ambassador to Nigeria, Ambassador Denis Koa, counselor to the French presidency and prime minister's office, Pascal Ofewa, advisor to the French president, Miss Marie Audot, consul general of France in Lagos, Laurent Bolokwa. Alright, I'll urge you to read the rest of the story and find out more on them. Alright, 13.5 billion money laundering. Federal government files fresh charges against Dasuki. Attaches list of beneficiaries. The next banner says PDP to Obasanjo, name looters of 3 billion naira. Name looters of $3 billion. PDP to Oshibajo, not Obasanjo. PDP to Oshibajo, the vice president. Name looters of $3 billion. Please, this very interesting story and headline, go to pages 4 and 7 and read up and unravel the rest of the gist and information there. And that takes us to the last on the front page. That's a new telegraph. High carbohydrate diet could hasten menopause. High carbohydrate diet could hasten menopause. Please go to page 35 and find out more on this very interesting revelation, especially for the interest of women. Alright, let's go to the back page. On the back page, we are meeting on marble. Remember, we had our own marble from our MCL TV here, but this one is from New Telegraph. True equality means holding everyone accountable in the same way, regardless of race, gender, faith, ethnicity, or political ideology. This is coming from Monica Crowley. Monica Crowley has spoken to us this morning. Alright, and leaving that, we meet sports. Udeze Ambrose sue for peace in Nigeria football. Continue that story on page 37. And with it, we step down to meet the Bello Dino thriller. The Bello Dino thriller, excuse me, and it's coming from Ike Abonyi Political Musings this morning. And with it goes, we see two picture elements of Bello and Melaye, Dino Melaye here. Alright, that's why the title, the Bello Dino thriller. I'll ask us to read this very interesting column. As I can see, promises an interesting reading. Please do well to read the story and find out what Ike Abonyi is trying to do, placing these two men side by side with this the Bello Dino thriller. Alright, with that, we crown this morning's newspaper review as we continue to encourage us all to read our papers. Whether you are a student or not, it's good to read your paper so you'll be abreast of the information of the happenings around the world, especially in your own state. Charity begins at home. You know what is happening in your own country, not just foreign news. Alright, when you are abreast of that, you'll be able to discuss confidently, boldly, based on information, not a hearsay or it appears, it looks like. Alright, and that is that. Walk down to your nearest vendor, grab all of the copies on just one. There's no overdose to knowledge. We continue to tell you from MCL TV. Without you take a break, and when we get back, we'll begin our discussion segment. This morning, remember, we said that we are going to be talking about the workers' welfare. Remember, May 1st was Workers' Day. We continue to talk about the welfare of workers and also the employers of labor, the challenges facing them. What do you have to say about that? What do you think we all need to do? All hands must be on deck, with the employees and the employers of labor. Do keep it at. Very soon you'll be joining us with the number on your screen. Do stay tuned.
non-stop breakfast show on TV.
Chukwu na-enye ka nri onye ọbụla. Chukwu na-enye ka nri onye ọbụla. Ọ na-enye ka ndị ọrụ bekee na-eri ikpege n'ọnwa n'ọnwa. Ọ na-enye o, ọ na-enye o, ọ na-enye o.
Hello, my name is Buchi. Keep watching MCL TV and don't go away.
Aye, God has given you victory. Aye, He has given you victory. Aye, God has given you victory. Aye, He has given you victory. What's up, people? It's your boy E-Ben, ministering to God's children, and you're watching MCL TV. Don't touch that dive. Peace. I love you.
MCL, the word in your home.
When you do that, you are done. You are ready to go. Remember using it. Yep. So when we start to get these in large numbers, the first shipment of AK-47 to the SPLA, SPLM was from who? Guess who? The late Muammar Gaddafi of Libya. We are rebelling against the Arabs. And the first person to rush and give us AK-47 is another Arab leader. Yeah. Oh, man.
South Sudan, hello Juba, wherever place you are tuned. Today is a very special day, the 8th of July, and of course tomorrow our Independence Day, the day we have been waiting for. We will be a new nation. Tomorrow we shall be free from the Arabs, we shall be free from slavery. So I love to say, as you know, that we have been struggling, and struggling for 4 generations. But I hope you guys are preparing. And I know the temperatures today are a little bit hot, and of course tomorrow we shall be free at last.
Okay. Happy. It's been a long journey to get here today. For us as a country, and also at individual levels.
throughout the struggle from 1955 to 2005, I have lost a lot of people. Almost all the male in my family have lost through different battles, different engagements here and there, including my father with all three of his brothers, my brother, and a few cousins from both mom's side and my dad's side. So it's not easy. It's not easy seeing a lot of death as a child. It's not easy being trained, to be a killer, to be a soldier at that age. It distorts a lot of things in your head. So our generation, even though we got traumatized through the process, we must find a way to be good citizens of this country and make sure this country is prosperous, united and democratic. So this particular basketball team is special. The fact that it is the first to represent the country, the first to ever put on a jersey, and to put it on as the first captain of that goes down in history.
ده حاجة كويس عشان ننا بلمو ده الكلام المكتوب هنا نبني البلد ونبني نقوي الجيم ننا بدينا قبيلة بتاع شنو أنا داير كابتن
Bright Stars on 3. 1, 2, 3. I didn't hear that. 1, 2, 3. Bright Stars. I can't hear that. 1, 2, 3. Bright Stars. That's better.
We're singing the national anthem of the old Sudan as we know it, because the next few hours we will have a new country. We'll be divided into two. That's it. That's the last time we're singing it. It's over. It's over. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye. We're done, we're done, we're done. That's over. Over. Bye bye, bye bye.
President of the Republic of South Sudan, General Salva Kiir Mayardit.
Today, we celebrate the birth of our country and the freedom of our people. We should always remember that our nation was born of the blood of our heroes and heroines who fought for many decades for the freedom we now enjoy. The task of building a nation and a state is enormous and challenging. Yet, the freedom we have will never be reversed by anybody.
Inside
remember the first day they gave me one like this. Yeah, he gave me this one. He gave me this one first. November 1990. It was so heavy. But by the way, when I was doing the training, when I did the training, when the training is about to finish and then they give you the real guns to train with, while standing, I cannot do this while standing. It was too heavy. I could hold it like this up, but as soon as it reaches like this, my arm would go down. So what I would do is I would sit down like this on the ground and put that, and then while sitting on the ground. And then when you are going to area your deployment, you get scared. People start farting. You know, you start like, guy, what's wrong with you? Nobody talks. Everybody's silent. Then you go to your deployment area. When you go into your trench or under your tree, you are deployed, you are scared. And then the Arabs start to come. Let's say you are the one setting the ambush. The Arabs start to come. And they come with a lot of cars and a lot of troop armored, and you can hear them from far. You know. Always is at night and you engage early in the morning. But as soon as the first bullet goes like this, that's it. You don't get scared. I love it. Freedom giver! Thanks to Mikhail Kalashnikov. It's crazy, man. How would you design a gun like this? This gun, if you find somebody that has been shot by AK-47 on the ground, you will think this person has been hit by a truck. Man, this guy, man, his designer good. For poor people like us. It's not sophisticated. It doesn't have the night, all this stuff or silencers or anything. But it just kills. Yeah? It just kills. You just aim at direct that direction, you just shoot 4 bullets in that direction. Bang, 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 bang. And somebody goes, oh, motherfucker, bang, bang, bang. This is my land. Stay out of it. Stay in the north. It's better for you. Ah, my friend. And the training was terrible, man. It was the most traumatizing thing ever. They didn't care whether you died or not.
They postponed the game today because the Ugandan side, they wanted their basketball federation president to attend the game, and he's not here. So he's going to fly in tomorrow from Uganda. This is now the changes number 10, if not number 11. This is Juba. So when you're in Juba, you expect anything.
Rome was not built in one day, so
Yeah.
so no problem.
So we're playing the game in the same place, Juba 1, at the same time tomorrow. After the game? Even though Chumili says or not, we're just going to have a party. We're going to create a party. If you lose, some of you will go and cry at home. Some of you will go for their girlfriends, whatever. You know? But if we win, we have a good party.
We can't win. No, man.
Are you ladies sure you'll win?
No ladies, no.
No, no ladies, are you sure?
No.
We need good.
Oh man. Let's show them anyway. We can try to get
Hello South Sudan, I love to say you guys are welcome to our special program today. After the independence, the North are still giving us a lot of stress. Now it's about the oil now. They need a lot of money to be paid for the oil to pass in their land, what we call oil transit. But the government of South Sudan is not willing to pay a lot of money. South Sudan depends mostly on the oil, you know, roads, salary, hospitals is being financed by the oil revenue. So we need to know from you, we shut down the oil or what should our government do? We'll be willing to hear from you, pick some of your calls. Anyway, we need to hear from you.
One-stop breakfast show on TV.
Alright, you're welcome back. It's still your breakfast program. Good morning, Abia, from your number one station, MCL Television, right here in Aba, the metropolitan hub of Abia State. And this is our discussion segment where we are going to be continuing with our discussion yesterday on Workers' Day, the welfare of workers, where we're going to be looking into the challenges being faced by employers of labor and that also of workers. As it's a two-way thing, like I said yesterday, it's a two-way test. It's going to be talking about the welfare of workers and the challenges being faced by employers of labor. What can we do to ameliorate the pains and sufferings of employees, the people who are being employed by the employers of labor? And what are the things the employers of labor can do to ensure that they get the best of their workers? Alright, we also talked about the working conditions being given to workers, that which can make a worker have passion for his job. The pay, the take home, the allowances. What are we going to do to make sure that this country has the best of their workers? Of course, the May 1st was celebrated as Workers' Day, and we heard the federal government promising heaven and earth. And we also are going to look at, is it just a lip service? Remember, we also talked about the minimum wage, the current minimum wage of 18,000. Well, we remember that the bag of rice, we all know how much a bag of rice is. And the union, labor groups are asking for 66,500 current minimum wage to help even the least of workers be able to afford one or two things at home. All right, to do justice to this topic this morning, I have right here with me in the studio, Comrade Uche Meku, not just somebody who seems to know it all in every area, but he is also a human rights activist. He's going to be talking on behalf of you and I. So good morning and welcome to the program once again.
Good morning, Abians.
All right, while we also await the arrival of Joe Kereke, who I think we have to forge ahead. May Day, Workers' Day, known as May Day, was celebrated across the 32 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory with mixed feelings and agitations by Nigerian workers. In Lagos, like we said yesterday, the National Union of Air Transport Employees, NOATE, on Tuesday said that it would not hesitate to ground any airline or aviation concessionaire that refused to allow its employees to join the various aviation unions. The General Secretary of NOATE, Mr. Lai Kabiode, told News Agency of Nigeria in Lagos that the employees' freedom of association was guaranteed by the Nigerian Constitution. All right, and we also have to think about a lot of factors. But while we are discussing this, we want to announce that we want you out there watching to join us in this discussion with the number soon to appear on your screen. But before you do that, do move away from your television set so there will not be any disruption. All right, Comrade Uchemeko, we discussed quite a lot yesterday, although we couldn't finish all that we needed to yesterday. That's why the continuation of the topic. We talked about working conditions for workers in Nigeria, and I want you to continue on that. What is it that can make a worker bring out his or her best in the places of work, and what are the challenges you think that the players of labor are having that are stopping them from fulfilling all these necessities for the employees?
Yeah, thank you. And I want to begin by saying that what you see happen to me is only the grace of God. I want to say that whatever I have said that look as if there is any knowledge in me, I think I don't have any. I want to humbly submit that it is only the grace of God that you see. And having said that, I want to say that for a worker to put in his best in a work environment, one is that worker has to have passion for the work he's about to do. That worker has to love that work. That worker has to also, have it as a hobby, so that he doesn't work under grudges. Because if you fit in somebody where he's supposed to work, that person will take it for granted that, by the time he explodes on the scene, he himself will not even know that he's going that way because of the passion. Then the remuneration that comes along with it is an added incentive for that worker to show the best. And as the worker continues there putting in his best in that job, it now behoves the employer to also see a way of motivating him further, either by way of training and by way of certain allowances, and also making his working environment very conducive. You see, when you work in an environment where the aesthetic beauty is pronounced, you find out that worker will also be happy to tell others, look at where I work. So the motivation aspect of it, or the incentive aspect of it, is just to make that worker to go on, to go beyond what he should have ordinarily done. I'll take the footballer for instance. It's a game. Unless you have the passion to play football, there is no amount of money that will be given that will make you play even beyond your capacity, that will even make you put on your jersey to come to the field to be cheered by others. Unless you have that zeal, unless you have that distance, then when that money comes in, you will now soar to the higher end. Now, the worker himself, also, there are also others who will not have that passion, but because of the salary you pay there, because of the allowances you pay there, they will now improve, and they will now see it as a way of even making further livings for themselves, and then they can now make this. So salary is one of them, the allowances is one of them, working environment, the environment also has to come in. Then the other incentives by the way, the relationship, the corporate governance of that environment will also do something. Then the relationship, the interpersonal relationship among the workers has a lot to play. And you have also the welfare schemes put in place, especially when a worker that you have engaged, by the time he uses his useful life, because you are asking him to come in to give you the best of his life, and at the time that he will retire as well, you also need to look at what is in place for that worker. whether he has pension, and then what of whether the pension is also insured, and also what is the security of employment there, and then is there any room for one to also bring out his initiative. I think these are some of the things that the worker needed, to sow and to help in that place. Again, do you make that worker a part of that work environment? Do you make him realize that he's an owner? In fact, in some workplaces, you have what they call, they have a kind of sharing arrangement where companies will declare profit. Profit sharing, I think that's what they call it. Yes. That the worker, outside his salary and outside other things, at the end of the day, you will also share in the profit that he has made. I think there is a particular media house, I won't mention its name, that has this thing at the end of, every year, by December, they share their profit, and I learned that the proprietor of that media house does not even care so much about what comes in. What is after is that place moving on. What he takes the name. Of course, he also has a part of the thing, but majorly it is the worker. Now, what of the employer? The employer on his own part has enormous task. One of the things that the employer will have to do is to look out for an expert, the needed workers, those who have passion, those who are ready to work and defend their workplace. And in this case, in the recruitment exercise, you find out also that you don't need to look at favoritism, because as soon as you add favor into the employment, it has a tendency of lowering the standard for which that company is known. So there is also need to have a standard, to have rules of engagement, and to follow it as much as possible, and then to promote when there is need to promote. And when somebody has also shown exceptional skill, you have to promote him, not minding whatever that is there. And then you look at also nepotism and all those chronism and all the rest of them. And some employers has this tendency of also bringing in those who will spy on other people. Those kind of things is one of the challenges that the worker, the employer also need to check, so that he creates an enabling environment. So I think these are just some of those points that needed to be looked into. And when you have it, you will enjoy it. Like in Japan, when you are employed, you will start even from the gate right to the particular seat where you have been employed for. I know in the bank in those days, even when you are employed as a management staff, you start from the clerical table, learning how to pass certain entries and how to manipulate certain this thing, until you get to that position where you now occupy your seat. In that lineup, you as a manager will now begin to appreciate the challenges of the junior ones, and you will also address that one as a manager, and again as having cultivated a kind of family relationship that is devoid of certain abuses, which I may not really mention here.
All right, thank you very much, Comrade Uchemeko, for really delving deeply into that question. At this point, let's come back home, because right here at in MCL TV, we believe that charity begins at home. Let's drive all this home. Let's look at the condition of service in Abia State. Do you think that the workers in Abia State are really doing what they are supposed to do? The employees and also the employers of labor. What are we not doing right? What do you think are the things that are really stopping us from soaring higher in our places?
Yeah, one of the problems we have in Abia State from the distance is that even the workers do not even know their rights. And some of the workers also have dual purposes and dual work. Some of them are there, they just go out in the morning, sign the attendance register and get back. At all level, in fact, the local government is even the worst. So some of them will just go there. They are employed. They just, go there to assign their attendance register, and some of them will now go to other works. Some of them will go to the market. There is a headmistress of a particular, a principal of a particular, secondary school here in Aba. She has a school here, and then also teaches somewhere to Werenta or even in Imo State. So, and when you have this kind of thing, you will now see that productivity will be a suspect. And maybe because this particular principal, or some of them, because they have people at the top, politicians at the top that, protects them. You see, even discipline will be lacking. Productivity will not be what it should be. And I know that around sometime in the past there was this there is this of a community who has his children, on the payroll of a particular local government, and those children were then in the University of Calabar. And so when you come, you see that their table is vacant. They still earn money and then go to school. At the end of the day, when they present their certificate, you will see it is, is a regular course that they have gone to. It is not a part-time course. So now you begin to ask questions. When did you go this thing? Was there anything that you did that caused this type of situation? Now their immediate bosses knows that these ones are not there. And in some of the cases, you find out that the worker himself will share his salary with his boss. And so, he's covered at that level. So these are some of the problems we have noticed. Nepotism is on the hand. Truancy in the workplace is order of the day. And because it is like that, it becomes difficult even for this worker to contribute his quota, which will translate to that money that will be paid him. In that case, we have so many of them as ghost workers and as partial ghost workers. Partial ghost workers in the sense that they have their work, they also have, the market, they have this thing. What I am talking now, any person can go to any of this market and notice some of these things. And what of the local government staff? You find that most of them are in the office idling away, and their jobs are taken and given to contractors. Several times we have talked about these things here. You cannot give my work to a contractor and believe that I will do anything. There is just nothing I can do because another person has taken over that job. I'll only sit in the office idling away my time. You have your children in school instead of staying in the office, taking your 1 hour break. You find out that at a particular time you go there, you find out that they have gone for school runs, and yet they are expected to be paid. At that level, what is the productivity level? Is government not seeing this thing? Why are they keeping quiet over this kind of situation? It is the general society that suffers. Again, some of these workers, when you send them on some of this revenue drive, even though government is trying as much as possible to reduce, the influence of cash payment across counter, but you still have those other problems. Some of these workers will go on revenue drive in the field. They will print their own receipt. They have their own receipt. And even in cases where they are supposed to ask these people to go to the bank and pay and give this thing, they will also manufacture their own, bank tellers and then use it anyhow. Government knows some of this thing. So most of the time, the workers are the greatest problem of themselves. And I did say yesterday here that our workers do not really, in fact, they are the cause of their problems. When you have done something wrong and you don't want to be punished, you give yourself away to blackmail. Somebody will blackmail you. That person can reduce your salary. You will not say anything. You may be on a salary of 100,000, and when they ask you to send 100 and take 20,000 away, you will be glad to take it because actually you have not really contributed anything. And again, I did say that some of our workers here are the ones who will also give the politicians the leeway, to do whatever they want to do while throwing overboard the rules of engagement or the civil service rule, as the case may be. So I believe that, this is a problem. And when this thing is turned to salary arrears, I mean, there is just nothing you can do, because you're also part of the system. You have corrupted the system. So what do you expect? He who comes to equity must come with clean hands.
All right, he who comes to equity must come with clean hands, and it applies to every one of us. At this point, we want you out there, it's time for you to join the discussion with the number soon to appear on the screen. You give us a call. Give us that call and ask your questions and come up with your opinion. Tell us what you think on the topic. But when you are doing that, remember, we always ask you, we plead with you to move away from your television set, move some paces away so that there will not be any disruption. All right, and when you ask, you go straight to your question. All right, at this point, I want us to look at, when you were talking, you really came close to the issue of guest workers in the country, not just in Abia State. I want us to always draw our questions and the issues home. The issue of ghost workers has always been there, and from the federal level at one point seemed to address the issue. Now, do you think the issue of ghost workers has been defeated in the state?
Well,
do you think, well, what if not, what can we actually do? Are we really sincere with the battle against ghost workers?
Actually, when you talk about ghost workers, these are not people who are dead, who also will not sleep in their grave, but will start to walk again. Because that is, when you look at it, that is the way it appears. But when we talk about ghost workers here, it is the filling up of the employment register with the names of non-existent persons.
Exactly.
Persons who are not in that workplace in the first place. Persons whom you cannot really come to the office and identify as even when you do a head count. And who are the creators of these ghost workers? The creators of these ghost workers are mainly the heads of departments and the permanent secretaries. Because there is no harm that I am in an office. I am supervising.
Sorry to cut you to let's take number one caller. Hello? Hello, good morning. All right, sorry, we lost it. Please continue to call and we'll be able to pick it. Go ahead, sir.
So why I am looking at this is that there is no harm having a department and I wouldn't know all my workers by their first names.
All right, I'm sorry. Hello? Hello, good morning. Good morning. Please be more audible so we can hear you and everybody will hear you.
My name is Carlos.
All right. Thank you, Carlo, for calling. From where? All right. Thank you very much. What's your take on the topic? Please be more. We can't hear you. Be more audible, Carlo.
Okay, I've listened to the gentleman with you.
All right. Okay.
I heard him clearly discussing issues about workers, and from what you said, workers contribute more than 50% of the problem. Recently, happened to be a worker too. I'm coming from a section in all the state system. I am a secondary state. And I know that when I got employed in the school system, just like I said, I embraced the job with passion and I did everything. Come in the morning and see me in the school. I would always see the first person to spell my name in the phenomenal road. And I will be there. After school, I will stay back to make sure that I mark the student street and all that positive assignment. I was doing this. But incidentally, at the end of the month, I discovered that salary will not be forthcoming. I come back to the house, I have my children to take care of. I have my wife to look at her face, and I find it difficult to ask her to do that. I continue. The next month, I find myself borrowing money. And at the time, I discovered that among the other teachers, I was looked up as a fool. A fool because I cannot go on a supervision because I feel that what they do on the supervision, during my intervention, I was only going there because they go there and compromise, come back with money, and be happy. Again, I discovered that teachers, any teacher who relies on salary, cannot feed his family, let alone be able to pay the student's school fee. How can you tell me a teacher is paid 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, and you expect the teacher to remain in school? Actually, what she said is true. How can I be in a school At the end of 2 months, 6 months, and today is the 7th month. I'm not paid. I must find a way to make sure my children are fair. And that is one of the reasons. So if somebody says the workers, maybe the workers are the cause of the problem because from India. But I'm talking about myself because I invest the job with my heart and I did it with passion. Sometimes, even when we are trying, I find a way to gather the students, my children to teach them because I feel that I'm teaching them. And now I know that why they are doing this is because their own students are not in good school. I know the number of students we used to have in school. Today we are there. We have mushrooms secondary school around. That's where they go to. And why do they go there? For the parents, they feel that once you go there, your children are guaranteed they get making their paper. That's what it's called today. You make your paper. How are these papers made? Helpful. The other time the governor was on. They told us that he was very happy. And that's why they made the best result. We are on the ground. We know the reasons for this. He cannot tell us that when they came into the power, they don't make anything tangible. So when the system is not fair. So I am saying that in as much as we may be blaming the worker, the government in power are killing the school system and the workers, and they are killing the system. If they want to do these things, they can do it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Carlo, for speaking out. You heard what he said. Can you also react on what he said?
If he had been following me or listening very carefully, he will understand that my analysis or my discussion on this topic is bringing the blame on the two sides of the divide. One, the worker will keep quiet because he doesn't come to work, and the government, his employer, will take that money. This one will keep quiet, this one will keep quiet. It's a compromise. You take 20,000, he takes 80,000. You cannot say anything because you are compromised. The problem is from the two sides of the divide. One, why is it that an employer will look at one who does not contribute his quota in uplifting or keeping the place of this thing? Because that employer or the one that superintends believes that this is not his father's job. He believes that all we are here to do is to make money. And
all right, so let's hear this. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. We can hear you. Go ahead. What's your name? You called us. What do you have to say? All right, go ahead.
So the thing is this: I really sympathize with Carlo the caller. I sympathize with him. But one thing, Carlo, you should take. One thing that should give you the joy of your life is that you're doing a work that God has called you for.
Okay.
And that
you're doing a work that God has called you for. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Lower the volume of your television set. All right, thank you.
My name is.
Hello? Please, we already said if you want the line to be clear, you want us to hear you. Before you even call, lower the volume of your television set so we can hear you clearly. All right. Hello? Go ahead.
So, Carly, you should also take solace in the fact that you are in the right place, and that you, even though you do not carry the microphone to preach on Sunday, that you're also a minister of God. You're also contributing your quota, even in the midst of wickedness. Because if I will go a little spiritual, on that day of the judgment, you'll be judged according to your contribution, that in the face of these intimidating situations, that you are able to keep yourself clean. There is no sense when there are no sinners around. So take solace in that fact. And I don't know.
All right, go ahead. Hello, good morning. Go ahead, sir.
Take solace in that fact. And again, the works of your hand will vindicate you on just one day, because you have shown a lot of dexterity, you've shown a lot of dedication to your work. Forget about those other people. You see, the thing that worries me is that you see a man with a lot of money, you don't see the pains that is undergoing.
Exactly.
By the grace of God, there was a time, I had so many friends that I visit on their own, and I found out that some of these people, so-called rich people, when you go to them and they open their mouth to you, you will thank God that you didn't even have that money in the first place, and that you are doing what you are called to do. You are not a fool, but you are the person that God has put there, because God will use your character to judge all those other persons. It's a very hard thing to do, but because you have been called to that work, just go ahead and do it. Now, on the part of the government, you see, I did talk about favoritism, cronyism, friendship, and nepotism, and all these things. These are where the employers will have to answer their question, because each one of us will answer our question according to the responsibility given to us. That maybe the teachers will be on strike, and you still find a way of gathering these children, even to teach them. I want to tell you, you will be one of the most remembered by these children, especially when they grow. They will single you out. See, I went to a primary school, I went to a secondary school, and by the grace of God, I went to university. The only persons I remember, those who tutored me, are those ones to whom I have seen their character, and I wish I had that same character in line with them. It's not everyone that taught you in the school that you will remember.
Exactly.
You will either remember them for their dedication, or you remember them because they are always with care on you. So these are the two persons, but any other person you might not remember. Now, the employers themselves, because they believe that this is not their work, they can now destroy, that place. That a worker is on the beat, and for 7 months you have not paid him.
Okay,
for goodness sake, you are a wicked man.
Okay, let's take this call. Hello? Alright, it appears we're having some problem with this network. Please continue to try us. You surely get us. Well, okay, I think we have it. Hello, good morning. Hello? So many missed calls due to interruption in the network. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so there's a question I want us to look at. The non-payment, because it appears everyone you touch in Abia State, civil servant, will tell you we are being owed. Almost, it appears so. This non-payment of workers in the state, whose responsibility, whose strict responsibility? It's unfortunate that the man that would have been here for this program didn't make it. Hello, good morning. Hello? Hello? So let's look at whose responsibility is it to pay the workers, especially not just the teachers.
The teachers are not the workers, as a matter of fact. It's supposed
because you know why I'm asking this. When you ask them, they say we are being owed. If you ask Mr. A will say we are being owed.
It's all over the place. It's not even asking individuals. It's in the media.
Yes. But if you come closer, the state government will tell you we only give them subvention. So I want you to clear, to address that issue from that area.
Well, there is no harm. It is the employers of labor that will pay the employees. And if the employees are not paid.
Before we address that, let's take this. Hello, good morning.
And if the employee come out to say that you have not paid him, then it is your responsibility to publish it and say, look at. And as a matter of fact, you give the names. Now, there is no harm, like in the case of Abia Poli. Even if government claims they have paid them, why is it that government is keeping quiet and all of them are on strike? Or do they just want to go on strike? Is there any complicity behind the scene that we don't really understand? This one is not something you will announce on radio unless you are paying on radio, and these people are also receiving on radio. And then when they come out physically, they tell you we have not been paid, and these other persons will not make this thing. Now, when you know that you cannot really pay these salaries, you need to look at the structure, those that you have employed. You need to check the productivity and pay according to that. Now, if you have overloaded staff, you need to do a rationalization because you don't want to carry everybody. Now, if you think the government thinks they are for the Christmas, lay them aside and also continue to pay them so that whenever you pay them, they will applaud you. When you don't pay them, they won't say anything because you do not owe any responsibility to them. Like I am now, I cannot tell anybody that government has not paid me because I'm not employed by the government. If I should say that, that would be recklessness on my own part, and I think the government has every good reason to say that what I am saying is a lie, and I cannot lay any hands. When you have paid somebody, the only thing is that that person may say that you have not, that is underpaid. In that case, you are supposed to pay 100,000 and you are paying maybe 30,000 or 20,000. It's a different ball game altogether. But the thing is this: are you getting salary? Yes, if you are getting your salary, then that is the thing. But if you have not paid and you find out that there is a reason why you are not paying, you will make the reason open and then do a rationalization so that the number that is employed will know that they are employed and they will look forward at the end of the month also to pay their own bills, because some of these persons, like I said here, they have their own children who are also in the school. They have to go to the same market, or do you want them to go to market and then steal? And when they steal, the worst of it is that it is even the state government or the federal government that will take them to court, because you hear commissioner of police versus the state versus this person. And then when you look at this thing, what is the circumstances that has led to this thing? So non-payment of salaries of civil servants or even underpayment also adds to the crime in the society. So if you must control crime, you must also have to look at what are you doing to curb crime increase. If you cannot employ new ones, for goodness sake, those who are there, pay them very well, because this is the workforce that also churn out those things that the society will use generally to move ahead. Because like the civil service, if you don't pay them very well, a lot of things will be grounded, because our economy is government driven. I've said it several times here. If the government has not done their budget, if they have not started implementing their budget, you find out that things will just be on the downward side until they do that, and until we begin to go at such a level where government does not overburden themselves with certain businesses, you will continue to have this kind of situation we have. I don't think that if the government has paid, that Abia Poly workers will go on this thing. I don't think that is the thing. But the issue is that some of the
government has paid on the school systems that are supposed to be paid.
Of course, it is the government that owns that school. That school is not a private school. It is strictly under the regulations of the government. The laws establishing them gives the governor the overriding power. The governor can remove the rector if he loves. If he doesn't like it, he will bring on some other person. So that is why the case of Abia Poly has to come also under the purview of Nigeria Labour Congress. Okay. Yeah. So that is this thing.
All right. Thank you very much. Remember, this is One Star Breakfast Program. Good morning, Abia discussion segment, where we have continued to look at Workers' Day and affairs and issues that have to do with workers' welfare, workers' salaries. What are the workers supposed to do to make sure that their work flow very well? What are the employers of labor supposed to do? What are the challenges of workers and the employers of labor? Like I said earlier, it's a two-way thing, it's a two-way test. What are we all supposed to do to make sure that we paddle this canoe, Nigeria, and our own state goes on state and make it run smoothly? All right, we'll be doing that with Comrade Uche Meku, who is a human rights activist. We continue to anticipate that you give us that call. Of course, we've been having calls. It's just that we're experiencing a very bad network problem that are cutting off most of the calls. Continue to call. We'll be able to pick your call. All right, at this point in time, we want to look at the working condition. I know we have different working hours. We have different working hours across nations. That of the United States vary with that of Nigeria. Let's look at in our own country, Nigeria. What is the right or the model working hours for Nigeria. What do we have now? What model working hours, and what are the working hours, the suitable working hours that can bring out the best in an employee?
Every country, takes the route that best fits them. I guess what you're talking about when you're talking about United States is that their payment is by the hour.
By the hour, yeah.
So that if you put in 1 hour, you are paid 1 hour salary.
Exactly.
If you put in 2 hours, unlike our own, that you have, I think from 9 to 5 this thing. And unfortunately, these are the major, burden bearers of the economy. This 9 o'clock to 5 p.m., 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. workers. And these are the people that actually do not have a lot of freedom to maneuver. And these are the people that are only entangled with one job. Unlike in the United States where you
Are you saying 9 a.m. or 7 a.m.?
No, the official hour I think is 9 a.m. to this thing. Formerly it used to be, formerly it used to be 8 till 4. But then, because of the International Labour Organization regulation and because of, there are certain areas, because of the transport system, you cannot easily move. Like in Lagos State, you don't expect any worker to be in the office by 8 o'clock because of the traffic jam and all the rest of them. So the time had to be shifted for them. So because you are only doing, this 9 to 5 or 9 to 4 as the case may be, you are not able also to maximize your production or productivity. Because if you know that it is the number of hours that you put that will also give you a better living life, you will also have to take two. And a lot of the times that are idled away, that you throw away, waste, you will not do that because you now know that you can earn as much as maybe $1,000 for 30. 1,000 naira for 30 minutes. You now begin to make this. In that case, nobody tells you that it is time for you to work. So I believe that our system needs, it needs rejigging, it needs reformation, it needs transformation, so that we now go by the hour, so that every one of us will contribute his maximum quota. If you want to go on break, you can go on break, and you remember that the break that you have gone on, you will not be paid. In the banking sector, I know that you have your 1 hour break in those days. I don't know what it looks like now. And that 1 hour, you might decide not to take it. In that case, you will close earlier than you normally close. And if you also work in that hour, you have also incentive that is added to you because you have not taken your break. You are strictly for work. And then you see, when you look at certain things, you ask yourself, why is it that civil service is not as active as the private? The public service is not as active as the private sector. Because in the private sector, even though they do not pay anything, because I think the private sector, now that we are talking about government, I believe that when you compare the two, the public sector is a sort of a Father Christmas, because you can come to work and sleep all through and they will pay you. If they don't pay you, you will also complain that you have not been paid. You cannot even measure productivity with your presence. You can't measure. You can't say, look at, in this hour, look at what I produce. But in the private sector, when you get there, you are not paid very much, and yet you sweat it all out. You don't have pension there, and yet you make this thing. And in some cases, you don't even pay tax at that level, So government needs to do a lot of work around our civil service, reform it. Now this morning I was just watching a program, and I saw that most of the states in the north, you found out that they cannot even hold out than the ones in the south. And what do you have? You have a situation where mediocres are, put in the civil service. So this is one of those things that make this thing. So if you want to change the order again, if you want to restructure the order again to reflect productivity, you will still have to have a political problem even from the other side of the country.
Right.
So I believe that that of the United States is the much you work, your productivity will put you at the level where you earn much. Of course, if you don't work your ass up there, you may not be able to pay the bills. And when you cannot pay the bills, you will also put at the poor man's quarter where you have everything free. Every morning they'll just bring milk there. But then you will not have the comfort of having your children around. Because if you don't do that, in fact, let us not just go there. Let us concentrate on our weaknesses here and see how we can improve what we have.
What you have. Also, yes, because of time, I want you to tell us just in one sentence what you think is the way forward for the employers of labor and employees.
Yeah, the way forward is this: the employers of labor should insist on productivity and pay. The employees will need to do what they don't need to compromise in certain areas, because when you look at the union leaders, like I said yesterday, the union leaders go there to negotiate. At the end of the day, their palms are rubbed. They will bring out anything they want. They wouldn't want to act the way Imodu acted in his days. He was ready to go to prison because of the generality of the workers, because he knows that he is the head of these people, and that he knows that these are the ones that are really doing the job. Unlike what we have today, if you have read Animal Farm very well, you find out that when the lord of the manor and the animals with the pigs were negotiating, they went behind the iron curtain, and very soon they were drinking coffee and then were back slapping each other, patting each other. And when they come out, they come to announce, okay, look at what we have, let us take it. And even the union leaders does not also help the employers to make this thing, to ensure that productivity is order of the day. There is just a whole lot to talk about that has not gone down very well. But I want to encourage government to do all they can. Our employee, if you know your salary is not paid, take the quick way out. You can go to Libya, take the Sahara Desert. If you survive, we will thank God for that.
Okay, thank you very much. That's on a lighter note anyway. Thank you very much, Karenduche Miku, for making it a one-star breakfast program. Once again, it's still another way of serving your fatherland, coming here to give your contribution on several topics that concern us all. Thank you very much, and thank you out there who have been trying to get us on the phone, and those of you who were able to get us, we really do appreciate. And that is the much we can take on the discussion segment, One Star Breakfast program. Promising tomorrow more interesting topic coming your way on this on the station. From me, Cynthia Cheme. But right after now is sports. Do hold on for that. To stay tuned.
Good morning, Abia. Your one-stop breakfast show on TV.
Good morning, and it's a beautiful Thursday morning, and the time for us to talk about sports. Let us now start with the issue that has to do with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And we know that the Eagles have qualified for the 2018 World Cup, and the coach is trying to make sure that he pulls the team in order to present a team that will give Nigerians what they expect from them. All right, just yesterday, the Nigerian coach backs the use of video assistant referee system for England friendly. The national team coach of Nigeria, Ganatroa, backed the video assistant referee system for the international friendly between the Super Eagles and England. The match is set to take place at Wembley in London on June the 2nd as part of both countries' preparation ahead of the 2018 World Cup in Russia. Nigeria Football Federation President Amaju Pinnick confirmed that the VAR system will be used during next month's high-profile pre-World Cup friendly. Following the announcement, RA publicly backed a VAR system, saying it will make the refereeing fairer. VAR will be used for the first time at the World Cup after it was used at last year's FIFA Confederations Cup. Nigeria are in Group D at the World Cup alongside Argentina, Croatia, and Iceland. That's a good news that the VAR will be used in Nigeria's friendly against England, and if you ask me, it will make the refereeing in that particular encounter, friendly encounter, to be fairer. All right, let us now go over to the issue that has to do with the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Remember that the last friendly match which they played against France, they were beaten by 8 goals to 0, which did not go well with the Nigeria Football Federation. But the Nigeria Football House has stated that the Super Eagles will still play more friendly matches to help the team to build up ahead of the 2018 African Women's Cup of Nations qualifiers. The NFF scribe Sanusi Mohammed said that the federation has a blueprint for the team and will stick to it as they intensify preparations for the biggest women's football showpiece in Africa. However, Super Eagles coach Thomas Denebi is expected to submit a list of invited players for next month's second round qualifier against the Gambia. Sanusi disclosed that the players will be drawn from the 2018 WAFU Women's Championship team and friendly against France. So it's a good thing there that more friendly matches are being given to the Super Falcons. Most of them, about 80% of them, are new players who have been incorporated into that squad, and playing friendly matches will help them to gel ahead of that qualifiers. Away from the flying Super Falcons, we go over to the Flying Eagles. We have a piece of news that stated that the Flying Eagles may host the Under-20 African Cup of Nations qualifier against Guinea-Bissau in Port Harcourt. That is where it will take place, and ahead the game, that is the Under-20 World Cup, will be hosted by Guinea-Bissau, and the qualifier will be against Guinea-Bissau, and the Nigeria Football Federation is also making sure that no team is left behind in terms of preparation. And like the Super Falcons, they will be also expecting to have more friendly matches that will help them to sharpen their performance ahead of the qualifiers that will make them to qualify for the Under-20 World Cup. And if you ask me, that is also good, the part of the men at the Glass House, to make sure that they give, apart from the Super Eagles of Nigeria, other teams quality preparations that will help them to do well. All right, apart from that, now we go over to boxing, where one man is still making news, and that man is Anthony Joshua. What would you have expected if not so many people talking about him, because they say that success has so many friends, so many children, and so many parents. That is what you get when you are successful. Anthony Joshua is reaching an agreement with Wilder to make sure that their fights, takes place as been agreed upon between two of them. Negotiations to agree on undisputed world heavyweight title fight between the unbeaten champions wrapped up last week when Wilder offered Joshua $50 million to fight against him. You can imagine $50 million for him to fight Wilder. 50 million. Just translate the money into naira. The kind of money that you will be going home with. That is what Wilder is offering to Anthony Joshua for them to have a fight. And this is one fight that many boxing fans are really expecting to see. We'll also bring the date to you whenever it comes up. And this is one fight that many think will test Anthony Joshua, will test the prowess of Anthony Joshua. Well, we will tell you the date later. Alright, we'll come your way by tomorrow to bring you up to speed about all that is happening in the world of sports. But for now, I want to hand you over to Sefe Chime.
Alright, thank you very much, Jonah Orji, for bringing us those very entertaining stories in the world of sports where all can agree that there are no dull moments even if you don't like sports. Alright, with that we crown this morning's One Star Breakfast program on MCL TV. From me, Cynthia Uche, may I ask you to have a lovely day ahead. But up next is Inasalachi Omabia. Bye-bye.
MCL, the word in your home.